Now they catch me waiting happen to Babalawo. Oh yeah, but could I hear waiting they say happen for inside the court? And people that they joke with us. They never see you.
Well, you know, they are agent provocators, so they seek every opportunity to, you know, make a crisis, make a fuss. They'll go around shopping for occasions where they can, you know, exhibit their nuisance value for whatever they are getting in return. The court is not somewhere you go to, you know, dramatize your rascality or anything like that. There are other places you can sit in the court if your motive is good. I mean, if you have the vested interest of the party at heart. Arguing over who sits where shouldn't be.
Yeah, but you were sitting there and he approached you.
Yes, I was sitting. And,
right.
So he came that our 4 seats were retained by our protocol officer for our officials of the party and the presidential candidate himself. So I came early, so I was sitting down, and there were about 2 vacancies. But I'd seen them and I'd said, look, these people here again, they are here to cause a scene. You know, so when eventually, I didn't know he would have the effrontery to come to me to demand that I, you know, well, apart from being the...
To demand that you get up, basically.
Apart from being the DG of the presidential campaign, I think I've done well for myself in life, you know, that nobody of his caliber would talk to me like that. You know, so I also said, well, look, he said, don't I know him? So he said, I know him. And I said, well, if you are obsessed with whether I know you or not, that itself smacks of inferiority complex. I don't know you. Look, we are going around for the presidential campaign for months. I think you are nowhere to be found. How will I know you? The only way I know you was the nuisance you have been causing all over the place, you know, in the news. So please, you know, let me be. But of course, you know, they wanted to cause a scene. They did. They did cause a scene, and eventually the chief security officer of the chambers, you know, came and then, you know, shoo them somewhere to go and see that. But of course, they are paid for the day. But they didn't then bargain. I was also surprised that people were waiting for him and his confederates, you know, outside the place, and young boys roughen them up and, you know, remove his, and it looks like Babalawo, so they are shouting, you Babalawo Ole. So I think we would think twice before. We have another one on Friday, so I think they would think twice before he shows up there again.
Right. So has today's clash in court between you and Lamidi Papa widened that crack in the Labour Party? Is it now beyond sort of reconciliation?
Look, they have nuisance value. It's nothing factional or anything. Look, they have no consequence, you know, to the progress of the party. They only hit a jackpot, you know, that somebody finds them useful for nuisance value. Somebody who wants to give the impression of fomenting crisis in Labour Party to make the party look controversial, you know, and something like that. They are serving that purpose. So it pays them to do so. I mean, you ask them, where do they got the money that they used to be flying around, you know, and so on and so forth. It must be coming from somewhere. They don't look to me as somebody who can afford a flight ticket from Lagos.
Yeah, but you have to admit that it seems almost perverse that this took place inside a courtroom where you, as a party, are trying to convince the judges to give the reins of power in this country to you, and to convince the Nigerian people that you are the ones who will take them in a new, more hopeful, more responsible direction. I mean, but today's development gives a totally...
They came to subvert.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it also affects your image. I mean, it gives a totally different insight, suggesting that the people in the Labour Party are just as irresponsible as all the other politicians that you criticize.
Listen. You know, You see, it's newsworthy what they are doing, but actually it's irrelevant. Look, credit us with what we have achieved, right? What they are doing is trivial. Some naughty people, like kids, stealing. Look at what the party achieved, even with the compromise NEC results in the election. That's what you should measure it with, not with these people. People, they are just being useful to somebody who wants to. They are agent provocators.
Right.
And then they'll give the impression, precisely the impression you are giving.
Well,
it's a non-starter. They have no consequence. Look, after the conclusion of the court case, they will fizzle out. The person who is using them will find no use for them again. So, that is the reality of. You call them and ask each and any of what is the contribution they've made towards the progress of the party. Did they support any of the candidates, from the presidential candidate down the ballot, anywhere? I don't know him. But he was so he keeps saying around that they know me. Why should you be obsessed with people knowing you?
But they've obviously taken the focus away from where you want it to be. And the focus of this interview has become your squabbles with them.
People are not stupid. As a matter of fact, it generates more sympathy, the anger. People are provoked that they are allowing themselves to be used, to doing what they are doing.
Anyway, let's move away from that briefly. And beyond sort of the altercations, just tell us more about what happened in court today with regard to the Labour Party's legal challenge to the results of the presidential election.
Well, the APC was trying what they will call filibuster. In other words, they're obstructing the progress of the case. That's what I understood it for, like things they were supposed to have given to cancer for over a week or 2 weeks. They are just bringing them maybe today or the day before yesterday. Just a strategy of, making the thing protracted.
Right. So it meant that you had to adjourn again.
So the judge had to seize the initiative because he too saw it that way.
Right.
By Friday, if you don't bring it, it's going to go ahead and deliver a judgment, that he sees fit. So we're going back there on Friday.
Right. So as the inauguration day, because that's something that is moving inexorably closer, as the inauguration day draws near, what's the mood in your sort of campaign council and the Labour Party? We know that we just heard that Antony Blinken, the US Secretary of State, was phoning up Tinubu and his people to discuss, strengthening relations.
Listen, that is their own. See, America has its own perspective, about what is going on in Nigeria. But you see, the fact that it was the Secretary of State that was calling him itself is not a very good indication. It's not to be from the president. Right? So, people shouldn't get excited about. But look, America and Britain, you see, these people are masters of ambiguity. They don't share the same interest about saying, look, things must be done properly. They are interested in stability, just whichever way you find yourself as a winner, let's leave it like that. We don't want any problem here. That kind of thing. In any case, you people should be, you should be happy with your status in life. What are you talking about democracy for? Just accept, So this is what, at the end of the day, we owe we should be the masters of our destiny. So there's a little to, somebody was talking about visa ban. You find that kind of tokenism, that they do all about. But the British High Commissioner, who just left, she made a very condescending statement, immediately after the election, that the democracy of Nigeria is worth celebrating, about. I saw her dancing in a disco, something. So a British diplomat asked me what I thought of that scene where she was dancing. I said, well, it partly explains, a condescending attitude about Nigeria, that these people are just good for. But about a week ago, she issued another statement that is more, that in many respects, the election was a failure, disappointment. Right. So.
Okay. Finish what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's but it's what we have to do. If you are expecting some America and Britain to come and do some magic for you here, you're going to be disappointed.
So it has to come from
so exactly. Though,
right.
I'm not disappointed. They are masters of ambiguity. Their own emphasis, which is different from our own,
right,
is stability.
Okay.
Whichever option, no matter how flawed, so far as it is capable of guaranteeing some form of stability, they don't care.